us. It's a great pleasure. I ask Rav Aaron Kollel to speak.
I want to tell you all a little bit why we're here. And I'm not talking about why we're here tonight with a beautiful delegation from Lakewood that flew in, but why we're here in Atlanta. So a little bit of history. So I'm in Lakewood. Lakewood Kenai-Nahara has today probably maybe 60,000 from Yidden. Wasn't like that when we were growing up, certainly. And the Rashiva had to go out of town when he was a kid to go to school because there was no yeshivas in Lakewood. He had to, at age 9, go to Boston. I left Lakewood when I was 11 to go to Cheder because there was nothing in Lakewood. But Lakewood has changed significantly. And with that comes, I could say, a flow of people from all walks of life who, as is common for Achenu B'nai Yisrael, a lot of people come up with ideas. And part of what I have to do is people come to me with ideas. Some of them are what we call in English Dre cups. Do I have to translate that for anybody? No, okay. And some of them are great ideas and a whole host in between. And about maybe a dozen years ago, Rav Shmuel, you could correct me, how many years ago was it? When Rav Shmuel, when you first came to Lakewood to see us? 25 years, yes. Long-range vision. And, but I think it was about a dozen years ago where Rav Shmuel came into my office and he was demanding, I would say. Is that a fair way to say it? He was demanding. Reb David wasn't here yet, so it was easier to say no. But he said, look, I want to build Atlanta, and I want to build a Makam Torah. So I want to build a Kollel. And Baruch Hashem, Atlanta is a beautiful community. And I don't know, Shmuel, if we ignored you back then, or I'm not sure, maybe you'll tell us what happened. But we pretty much ignored him. And it wasn't that I thought Chas v'Shalom that Kvoid Rav was in any way from the cranks or the others with the ideas that come across. But it didn't seem to have any real viability or practicality, is to build this beautiful Makam Torah here. And through the years, my brother-in-law, Reb David Shustel, one of the Rashivas, would every now and then he'd see me, and he'd say to me, "I got a call from Atlanta, and they're upset at you." And that was kind of a sense, okay, so Atlanta's upset, get in line with everybody else. But that didn't make it seem any more viable what his ideas were. And again, we see a lot of different things, and Baruch Hashem and Lakewood were quite distracted with a lot of different stuff. And then Reb Shmuel he didn't give up. At some point in time, he started coming with Reb David. That was when we had to make a choice. Either we fold to Old Dixie or Old Dixie folds to us, but it was just a choice of we said, these are unbelievable partners. These people representing the Jewish community of Atlanta are incredible partners. They're the most serious people. And anything that we do with them is going to see great siyata d'shmaya, because their intentions are pure. Maybe in the beginning I thought Reb David was a little impetuous at times. We have to do it yesterday. We have to explain the process. It takes a little longer than you think it's going to take to build. But that impatience, I almost began to see it as what we call azas de kedusha of this. It is a great moral imperative to help for Lakewood in a small way to help build this great Makam Torah. I began my own involvement in Klal life at Esha Torah in 1986, and my first Rebbe in Askanis was Reb Noach Weinberg. And I remember a fellow came into Reb Noach with some type of brainstorm, and Eish was a very creative place in those days. It was a beautiful yeshiva, very active in Kiruv. And he came in with some idea of something that would be of benefit. I don't remember if it would be a benefit to the world or Klal Yisrael or Israel or something or other. And Reb Noach looked at him. I happened to be at the meeting. And Reb Noach said to him, can you list for me, can you tell me of the companies that were on the top 100 companies in the United States 100 years ago? How many are still on that list today? That's what Reb Noach asked this guy. And of course, the guy had no idea. Reb Noach, of course, knew the answer. And Reb Noach says 3. And the guy stops for a moment. And Reb Noach says, and you wouldn't buy stock in any of those 3. So they're kind of hang-ons. And he said to this young fellow, he said, anything that you do that is not an investment in Klal Yisrael is going to have no kiyum. It's nice. It's going to make you feel good. You'll feel satisfied at the time. You may do something great, but it's going to have no kiyum. I was speaking yesterday to the chairman of our board, who's Baruch Hashem. Hashem has been good to him financially. Doesn't hurt us to have him as chairman of our board. And we were talking about old families of wealth. And he started to go through family after family. And he says to me, wealth doesn't stay. Nothing, it doesn't stay. And the same thing that Reb Noach said, if you're not going to do for Klal Yisrael, if you're not going to build Klal Yisrael, it's just not going to have any kiyum. And if you want to do something that really makes a difference, that's really lasting, you have to do something that really advances Klal Yisrael forward. About a couple of years ago, maybe, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, the Rashiv and I had a question. It was in Lakewood, Baruch Hashem, we have a very active olim, and there was a question of an election. And in that election, there were 2 candidates. And candidate A was in favor of what we would call, respectfully for this audience here, expanding the definition of marriage. And candidate B, on the record, was against, he was going to preserve traditional marriage and all. And for a variety of reasons, we felt that the better candidate for the Olam HaTorah of Lakewood, this is controversial, so you don't have to agree with me, it's okay. We felt the better candidate for the Olam HaTorah of Lakewood, for our community, was what we would consider to be the more liberal candidate. And there were people upset. And we called up Rav Aaron Leib Steinman, Rashiva and I, and Rav Aaron Leib said to us, don't be busy with the world. You have to build Torah. And don't be busy with the world. Don't be busy with what happens in the great big world out there. The world's a crazy place. They're not just killing Jews in Paris and other places in the world falling to pieces. The world's a crazy place. It always has been. We just had the opportunity to go through Belarus and Russia and all these countries. The world's in chaos. It always has been. Farley said, don't worry about the world. You worry about building Torah and building the Olam HaTorah. Then Rav Aaron Leib said to us, he said, I just want to tell you that the more conservative candidate, he's going to be the one that's going to expand the definition of marriage in the state of New Jersey. He's going to be the one that's going to do it. And that's, I see the Rashiv is nodding his head, but that's exactly what happened. And then I saw today, I was very shocked today. So this very same individual is not going to be a president so fast, but he's trying. The same individual, there's a debate in New Jersey today whether doctors are allowed to murder people or not. It's called what they call assisted suicide and all. And so he couldn't even get up there and say how this is murder. They can't even use that terminology anymore. So it was like we're discussing whether it's practical, whether it's beneficial and all. And I thought back to what Rav Aaron Leib said to us. We have to build our Torah communities. And what we saw here in Atlanta are representatives of you, Balabatim, and you, the families of Atlanta, who were absolutely determined to do nothing else but to build the great Torah community of Atlanta. And that's why we're here. And it gives us the most incredible chizuk to see a small room full of people that we know are representative of the hearts and minds of the many, I forget the number, Sroy, you could tell me tens of thousands of Jews of Atlanta. Sroy probably has the exact number in his head somewhere. But representative of that, and Yidden who just are thirsting for Torah, Ashreichem, collectively to you all for stepping up and helping slake that thirst. It should be mazel everything that you do.